Hey, how's it going? We're going to be doing a coloring and shading tutorial, showing you the way I color and shade things. Uh, Forgive me, this is pretty impromptu, so I'm just going to be going off the rails if I make mistakes. Fucking forgive me, I'm just trying to show you how to draw off the cuff. So, here we go. I'm not going to show you how to do line work. I'm going to show you how to color and shade. So I have my lines right there, boop, bada bing, bada boom. And then I have my flats here. I don't really need to go into how to do flats. I can give you a couple tips for flats though. Use the paint bucket tool. Just pick your colors, color them in. I would say color all your different colors on separate layers before you merge them together. Just so you can edit them easier. Like I make a separate layer. I want to color the ear this color, right? Color it that color. Then I can just go to Edit, Tonal Correction, Hue, Saturation, Luminosity, and I can change the color pretty easily from there. As opposed to if it was all on one layer, if I color it all on one layer and then I want to change the Hue, Saturation, Luminosity, it'd be kind of annoying. It wouldn't really change just the ear color. Although you can use the magic wand tool to select what you want and then change it from there if you really want to. It's up to you. I prefer to keep my stuff on separate layers until I'm done with the flats and then merge them all together. Just go ahead and undo that. And then from there we can sort of move on. And I'll give you another tip on how to pick flats, especially if you're just starting out. And not even just if you're just starting out, I use it all the time. When I'm drawing a character, like some fan art or whatever, I usually have their art, preferably their 2D art with their flats already on. And I literally just color pick the flats. I'm sorry, this is not 2D art. This character doesn't have 2D art, but whatever. So I'll pick the fur, and then I'll go ahead and just color the fur that color in my drawing. I actually kind of like that shade better than what I had just used. Whatever. But I'll color the flats like that, and then I won't just use those exact flats usually. I'll put those flats down and then do the edit, tonal correction, hue, saturation, luminosity, and I'll change the colors from there depending on what I'm looking for. If I want more purple, want more whatever in that shade, that's what I'll do. So I usually just color pick the flats, slap them in, and then edit them to my needs. That's usually how I do flats. Let's go on to shading though. I think you can handle the flats part. You're not dumb. You can do it. I believe in you. So we're gonna make a new layer. By the way, this is Clip Studio Paint. So I have a new layer here, shading layer, and it's a clipping layer. This thing I'm clicking up here, this turns it into a clipping layer. It gives you that red line. That's how you know. That it just denotes that anytime I color on this layer, it'll stay within the colors. So this is a clipping layer of my flat colors. So everything I do here will stay within. We can even draw like a dick on her forehead. Why not? Look at that. Beautiful. Okay. So we got our clipping layer. And we're gonna go ahead and start shading. So we're gonna go ahead and color pick the ears. This is how I get my shading colors usually. There's a lot of editing of colors involved in my process. I usually pick the color and then sort of go towards purple. No matter where I'm at, I want to go towards like purple and blue. If I'm at green, I'll go towards bluish, like aqua, like watery colors. And if I'm at reddish, I'll go towards purple. Usually sort of go towards there. So let's go ahead and I'll pick my brown. And move a little bit towards here. Make it a little darker. I like saturated colors, so I'm not going to saturate it too much. I'm going to say that's good right there. Don't worry about it too much, because you can change this at any point. So go ahead and paint bucket tool, fill that in. Broad strokes in there. Then get my brush tool, sort of finish off the bucket tool can't do. Okay. Okay, I sort of free-handed this one. Here, I'll show you something else too. I'm sort of free-handing this one when I shouldn't be. So we went ahead and shaded those ears. Alternatively, let me just show you quick, which is how I'm going to shade the rest of this drawing. I'm going to just make a new clipping layer to show you really quick. So the problem with what I just did, right, is that while I'm coloring in this ear, if I like make a mistake and go, whoops, uh-oh, now it's in my other color. Like, god damn it, now what am I supposed to do? So in order to solve this, we're gonna go ahead and grab the magic wand tool up here, and I'm gonna go ahead and just hold shift, click all the areas we want. Now I have the ear selected. Now with this selected, I can just color wherever the fuck I want, and it's only going to be in the ears. It's perfect. It's what we want. Now you might be saying, hey, those marching ants, the fucking selection lines, they're so annoying. I can't see through them. Like, what the hell? Okay, I'll show you how to solve this. I literally just learned how to do this the other day, too. I never knew. You press View, Selection, Border, bada bing, bada boom. You can even hotkey this. Easy, easy, easy. So we're just going to turn the marching ants off. See, it still works. And then you can go ahead and just color Heart's Desire. Bada bing, bada boom. Perfect. Okay, let's just go ahead and get back. Perfect. So we got the ears done. Ears are done. In fact, I might even take a step further on the ears. I'm gonna get a little darker. I'm gonna do the insides a little bit darker. Yeah. That helps sells a little bit of the depth. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay. So we got the ears done. Let's go ahead and you know what, we're already working with the brown. Let's go ahead and bite this bullet already. You might have noticed that she doesn't have her face pattern on. So let's go ahead and do that. Gonna get my selection tool, select her face, select her legs and her tail, turn the selection off, grab my brush. Let's see. I think I want to just do like a pattern like. Now this worked out for me here. A lot of trial and error in art. Gotta see what works, see what doesn't. Just gonna this down as my groundwork. Gotta make sure there's not many gaps so I can just paint bucket this. I just want to get the general shape of the pattern in there. This side, like halfway. Alright, we'll grab the paint bucket, slap that in there. Alright, that's looking better, that's looking better. Just get it out a little bit. You know, even to sell the illusion of the fur a little bit more. This is a very simplistic drawing, I will admit, but I still want to get the details. I'm going to go ahead and color pick the base fur. Couple of some of these, you know, strokes make it more fiery. A little overkill right. I think that's going to be okay. I do think, however, that maybe it could be a little lighter. Let's go ahead and fill the rest in real quick. And we'll go from there. I don't know, it might be fine. Let's see. Edges of the legs. Oh, that. Good there. Okay, I'll just do this leg. Drawing can be slow sometimes. I'm not a fast artist. Okay. I'd like to be a fast artist. Oh, okay, let me show you right here. See how this didn't get colored in? It's because when I paint bucketed, this didn't actually fill in. So I'm just going to go and grab this base color over here, go back to my flat color layer. I'm going to try and color that in, but it's being an asshole. Cool. Alright, well I guess we're going to have to deal with that, because the drawing program doesn't think okay, well, whatever. The drawing program does not seem to agree, so what the fuck ever. It's so tiny, no one's going to notice anyway, don't worry. We're going to move on. We're going to go color back again, go on our shading layer. Well, there we go. Now she's got the pattern in her. That's looking pretty good. That's looking pretty good. Okay, while we're here, and this is actually really good because I'm going to show you a technique on how to shade this, even though there's two different colors sort of overlapping with each other in her I want to say skin, in her fur, because that can be a pain in the ass to shade sometimes. So what I'm going to do, right, is I'm going to go ahead and add another layer, another shading layer. Shading, whatever. Okay. And what we're going to do here is I'm just going to pretend like I'm just shading the beige fur, right? In fact, we can turn the previous shading layer off. I'm just going to get a shading color for this beige fur right here. I'm thinking... Sure what I'm here. Orangey. Let's try that for now. Go ahead and start shading this. Underneath of these like hair things, you want to sort of have the shading come out farther. Go. The ear is going to be covering. The ear would be casting a shadow, sort of like right here. I'm sort of imagining my light source coming from the top left, so I'm trying to keep that in mind while I'm shading. Small shadow right here. Give this like a whisker more form. Shadow. Overdo it on her face. I don't think she needs a ton of work done to her face here. Could make this come out more and sort of make this a part of this form. I feel like that would, yeah, that sells the idea of her face a little. And since we did that, the shadow would make sense to come. Looks like around there. Remember, keep in mind the form when you're shading. Her head's pretty circular, so I'm trying to do like curves in. Follow the form. In fact, I'm gonna curve this. Eh. Yeah. Too much. Okay. That, and then here, let's just go ahead and just do a general zoop. Just the coat would be casting a shadow on her legs. Let's just do that. Same for her. Okay. now, let's turn back on the other layer, and you might be noticing, hey, whoa, some of the shading is like going into like the parts we just colored. What the fuck do we do about that? Well, I'm going to show you what we're going to do about that. So we're going to go ahead and turn off the shading and the second shading layer, and we're going to pull up our first shading layer. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go select color gamut, and I want to select the brown. So that is what's going to happen there, is that everything that's brown, what the fuck? Select color gamut. Perfect. Is that everything that's brown is selected now. And now that that's selected, we're going to go back to our shading layer here. Press edit, tonal correction, hue, saturation, luminosity, and watch this shit. Darker. There we go. Select. So you see what happens is that everything within the brown is selected, and when I change the color of that shadow, everything that's just part of the brown is what's getting selected. So that helps you do that a little easier. Any patterns you have and you need to shade, it helps you basically just select the pattern and then go back to the shadow and then change the shadow color wherever the pattern is. If that makes any fucking sense. I hope that did. Whatever. What do we got going on here? So we're gonna keep that on the shading layer 2. In fact, we're gonna go ahead and enhance this a little. Form of the leg is like curved. Curve going on. Backside especially. Oh. And now that I have this brown color, I'm gonna go ahead and use this to shade in the rest of my better. I want to get that shape in there. That little sliver that we mentioned earlier is pissing me off, but okay. I'm an idiot. We already had a brown color, but you know, whatever. Okay, that actually does piss me off quite a bit. So we're gonna go ahead and fix that. Remember, everything I'm doing is like non-destructive, so it is fixable. So we're gonna go select color gamut again, select the brown again, go back to the shading, and we're gonna click on this button up here. What this does is it locks that color in place, so you can basically, it's like almost like a clipping layer, but just for that single layer. Let me get my big brush going on, and I'm gonna recolor everything brown to match the ears. The brown is the same shade as the ears, so the shadow should follow suit. And yeah, that looks okay. I kind of want to play with the eyes right now, so let's go ahead and on my shading layer, hold shift, select the blue in the eyes. And let's see, the real neck coat has like multiple colors. I sort of simplified the irises a little bit. I'm just gonna color pick. I want a darker color, but I want some sort of purpley, dark. Start with that. Number 1, I'm gonna start with the shadow. Yeah, that's way too dark, but whatever. That's some curvature. Oh, I'm being. I'm gonna sort of fill this in. It's already so close to it. I might. Okay, that's good for that. Let me hide the marching ants. I'm still getting used to that. Like I said, I literally just discovered that. Down the saturation, it up the luminosity. It want something more. That looks good right there. I think that's good. And for eyes, I like to do a lot of different little techniques going on here. Number one, eyes are like softer, so I'll take a blur brush right like this. Get the blur tool. I'll come in here and just like get the edges. That eyes look a little softer, and we're gonna go ahead and go to shading 2 so we don't destroy that part of the eyes we just created. But I need to get some lighter colors in. Eyes have just lighter and darker colors, and that's a lot of what eyes have to offer here. Lighter, up. There we go. That's a color I'm looking for. I'm gonna go ahead and just do a big circle right. Eyes are already starting to look a little better. I'm thinking, do I want the insides of the eyes white? I think I do. I think that looks a lot more striking. I don't know though. The alternative is to make him like darker, which I don't think pops as well. Or maybe I should make him the color as light. I don't know. I think the white is really working for me. I think that really draws you to the eyes. Makes her look sharp. Okay, so we got this going on here. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna make a layer above the line work. I'll go ahead and call this like eye shine. I'm just gonna get regular ass white, and what layer are these eyes on? What? Oh, art's confusing, folks. Why the fuck is this going behind the? How about if I put it up? Yeah, what the fuck? Okay, that's a fucking. Oh, because I have the fucking marching ants on. It's my fucking select. See, our art is about being stupid. There we go. Give her a little that. In fact, let's actually give that some color. I think that would look really nice with a really light, bright green. Or sharp. Yeah, we'll do that, and then we'll throw a couple dotted in here. That's starting to look good. And I think what I also want to do is I want to add some blue to the blackness for eyes. Go ahead and click this button again. My black of the eyes are on my line. I want a nice dark. I'm gonna throw that bottom of the side. Lights coming. Bottom is right there. I think that adds a little something to the eyes there. Definitely does. You can do a lot of extra details in the eyes, man. A lot. In fact, I think here. And second shine. I think I'm pretty okay with what's going on right there. And one more thing I'll do is I like to get like a grayish color. We'll stick with like a bluish gray since the eyes are blue. Get a nice little going on. Do a lot of these little just horizontal lines right here to add a little shine to the flash area. Throw like in there. Here. Like that helps sells the eyes a lot better. Alright. Got them eyes done. It's already looking better, and we can already see the difference. If I turn off the shading layers, like that. Bada boom, man. Already looking fantastic. Okay. Let's see. I'm sorry I'm very slow. I just want to show you my whole process sort of uninterrupted. Let's see. What are we going to do next here? Let's go ahead and I want to do I'm a little hesitant to do the red parts because she has that weird green pattern on it and it's a pain in the ass. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the bell and button. Ah, shit. Okay. You. Alright, now, there's some different things, that I like to do when I'm coloring metal. For the shading, I'm just gonna get a 5 size brush here. Metal, like, tends to have, like, a really dark, and, like, a really light. If you ever, like, seen, like, a piece of, like, cartoon metal, you know what I'm talking about. Like, watch, like, look how they do, like, I think, like, Kevin and Ben 10 has it when he turns metal. It's like it's basically just like black and then like some highlights, like black for the shadows and some highlights. I don't like to go full black, so I'm just gonna take it into like dark orange-y territory over here, reddish. Feel like I like to have a little color in my darks. Not perfectly happy with that, but down. And you want to put it like not at the exact edge. A little off from the edge. Not an expert, and I don't really understand. I mean, I understand why metal in real life sort of has this effect too, but you can just sort of imitate it kind of cheaply, like this. Plastic. There. Not there. We'll do a little lower detail. And I don't really like that color we picked. I think that's a little dark. Up the saturation a little. Color. I like reddish color. That's working for me better. Yeah. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and go on shading too, because we have to add some highlights to this. Just white like this, and come a little over this way. I don't want to go into green territory, but I want to be bright. Something this area, yeah. Peaks, and I like to with my shiny things do like a sort of like shine around the perimeter. That really adds to the shininess. Helps sell the illusion. Let's just fill that in. Edges, it already looks shiny. Already looking nice and shiny. Side a little bit too. That's looking pretty good. That's looking pretty good in my opinion. I think, however, this is another technique I like to do. I like to color my lines sometimes. So I'm gonna go back to my lines. Click this button again. And I'm thinking the black is a little too harsh, especially for these little dots on the top of the bell. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my base color here. Darker. It's here. Go ahead and color these. Looks like I colored the black in on this part on the color layer, like an color in the line. Then we'll go to our color layer. Thing. Color the black on here. Oh, because I see. This is why when you discover a new technique, you gotta get used to it. Like I said, I just discovered the marching ant technique like a couple days ago. Still not used to it yet. Maybe like we can go a little darker, but I'm liking it. Adds a little more color to the bell without it being so distracting. I want to add some color to the lines. Bell right there too. Yeah, that's looking good. Down here to these buttons. Okay. I'm pretty happy with that bell, and we can go ahead and really want to go back into my shading. Blur these. I wouldn't blur these too much because kind of thrive on being hard. That's what she said, but edge blur. You can also I do a lot when I do glowy things too. I will make the layer a glow layer, which you come up here where this list is, and then you click add glow. You can see it immediately makes everything way brighter. Obviously don't want all this to be that bright, so I'm just not gonna do that right now. I kind of liked what it did to the eyes a little bit though. White parts of the eyes, the light parts of the eyes, excuse me. So what I'm gonna do here actually is I am gonna go ahead and get that eye shine, that into a glow layer, see what happens there. Bit of a let's see. Maybe it's a little too much, but I liked the brightness. part of the eye. So I'm just going to select that on my shading layer. What? Oh, it was on shading too. That's a glow layer. Yeah, I think that adds a nice bit of intensity to the eyes there. Let's see, normal. Here's normal. Nice. Some. I'm gonna leave that like that. And I'm just gonna leave it there. This eye glow. Okay. Now let's move on to real quick. While we're talking about coloring the lines, I'm gonna go ahead and color. If you've noticed, I have the whiskers on a separate layer. This is weird little whiskers that come through your coat there. I'm just gonna. It looks like they're like the same like sort of reddish color, and then they finish in a bit of a yellow. So I'm gonna go ahead and follow that. I think that would look interesting. Color these. That red. I kind of want it to match the collar. And I'm gonna get my spray tool here. Shadow option. Thicker. Yellow. So I'm just gonna copy the bell. Color those. I think that's good. And fuck it, while we're here, let's color her like collar thing. Go to shading. I'm not gonna bother selecting this one right now because it's basic. So I'm just gonna go in and be careful. Also, here's my brush settings if you're curious. This is like my line work brush on the same brush I'm using for the shading. It's a pretty basic smooth brush. I got high stabilization on it, I know. And here's the pressure settings is just a straight line. Minimum value 70. Velocity on. In case you were curious. It's just the top and the bottom of this. A little yellow on them. Should have selected it. Should have. Far too late. And need a green in there. And force green. Not too high saturation. It's like diamonds, but I don't really want to do that high detail, so I'm gonna sort of boom, 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 boom. Nobody's gonna be zooming that far in. Here's it looks fine like that. Let's do the coat. You have to do Netcoat's coat, obviously. Shading. Red line on the coat. Should be the same color as this. Also, I would say keep your colors down. Like whenever you can share colors, definitely do so. Also, I'm sorry that I'm spinning it so much. I'm on iPad. Definitely do so because there's no sense in having like 5 million colors in your fucking drawing. You can get away with like the fewest colors you can get away with, honestly, the better. Adds a lot of clarity and cohesion to drawing, in my opinion. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Now that I mentioned the spinning, I'm gonna be fucking spinning this shit like crazy, huh? That's red little border. Side too. Okay. And while we're here, we did that in shading 2, so I'm going to go to shading 1 to do the actual coat shading. I kind of want, yeah, like a pinkish, like purplish. This. Select section over here. Over this part on top is like above this bottom part, so casting a shadow part and heavily shading it. Shade. And then these like tassels are like going wacky and are above. So you want to add some depth to that here. So I'm going to start the shadow down here. I say if you want to add depth to a shadow, you want to start it like below. Like I don't want to shade right here because that makes it look like the tassel is like right above, like right on top of like the bottom of the coat when it's not. It's like like a little farther above. I'm going to start the shading down here. Sort of copy the shape. And see, that makes it look like it's casting that shadow. Although the shadow's coming from the top left, so that probably isn't too accurate. But you get what I mean. In fact, I think things would go more like this would be the shadow for the one on the left. Yeah. So then we'll have a little bit of a shadow here. That area is gonna. Buttons are there. That in a moment though. Thinking that this shadow color's down a little bit darker. Is it? Can't really tell. I'll leave it right like that for now. I don't know, man. This is tricky. Too light. This is where like 90% of my drawing time is. We'll worry about that later. Get the rest of this in. Similarly, I'm just gonna go here. Part of the coat. I also want to light it a little. Coat is much lighter though. And this coat is supposed to be a little like furry. sort of like work in some like edges of poofy shapes to sort of sell that a bit more. And this is a pretty simplified drawing, so I don't really want to over detail things. I want to give it enough to where believable. Off here. Follow the shape. Follow the shape. Alright, yeah, especially with that in, I do want to rework the shading here. So in order to rework the shading over there, I'm going to turn off the shading layer. Select parts of the coat. Back on the shading layer. Oh, we got that on the shading layer. Oh. I think. Why the fuck is the. Oh, I didn't. Awesome. So good at. Let's go. Okay. That. Just that purple. Too abrasive. A little bit of purple. I feel like it's sort of muddying up everything else. That I feel like is a little more in line with. And I am gonna come in here as well. Since I ended the shading here, sort of follow suit, so the whole form reflects that. Okay, that should be good for that. The only thing we need to do is to like color this button some shading, because this is coming over. Make that look like it. Get rid of that shine right. Perfect, 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 perfect. That's beautiful, 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 beautiful. Okay. Let's really quick and do the nose. That should be easy to tell. Get a little bit of a darker pink. Shade that like that. I'm not even gonna change layers for this because it's so minute. Shine. Might not look like much, but it really does change the drawing drastically. Doing something basic like that. Starting to look really good. Let's go ahead and let's bite the bullet. Let's do this second coat, this like top coat part. Alright. Let's get a nice color. I think that's gonna be a good base to start with. Go ahead and select all the parts of the coat. Right, hide that. Alright, so her head is gonna be casting a pretty big shadow on this, so this is gonna be mostly shadow. In fact, yeah, that's perfect. them right there, and then I kind of want to add a little bit of an edge just to show. Perfect. So some volume. Perfect. Alright, it's already looking really good. Really looking really good. And let's add the shadow of the bell. That. To be kind of close because the bell's sort of resting here. I'm going to sort of merge this into the shadow. And each one of these is coming out from underneath. So I'm going to do a little bit of a shadow here just to give some depth. I really like this color I picked for the shadow. I think this is perfect. Spinning. Right here too. Shadow of that. Kind of want to add a little. Too much, just to show they have a. Aren't just like flat pieces. Oh. Then here, remember that on the bottom here, we like sort of did the shadow going like along this way. Let's follow that pattern. Follow the coat. Go. Sort of matches up with the other shadows. Alright, now the big pain in the ass. Let's do this pattern. Alright. So it's going to be like a greenish pattern like this. So we'll take this to start. I'm going to make this its own layer just to make it easier to work with. I think what I want to do, cause it's like a bunch of rectangle-y shapes, is we're going to like manipulate a rectangle, I think, here. So what I want to do, big rectangle, this. And I want to retransform this, get it sort of, oh, what the fuck? Okay, we can't have this selected. A lot of art is problem solving. Is that gonna also our shit? Okay, no, perfect. That's what we want. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna transfer this real quick just to sort of get it in the position we want. Gonna have to do some mesh transformation too. Okay. Transform mesh transformation. This gives you a lot more like fine control. Want it to wrap around. Front points should. All the way to the bottom. Up. Could hand draw this, but I'm far too late. Art is not really. It's a lot of hard work. That's why you gotta be lazy where you. pretty good. Want me to get shit down a little. There. Perfect. Okay. Now let's sort of off selection of the coat itself. Anything that's not, well, not anything that's not on that section of the that. Go back to the pattern layer. I'm just gonna click backspace. That off. Is on the bell as well. Let's get that off. Pattern. Perfect. And now what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go ahead and just take our brush. I'm gonna click this at the very bottom left, that little like checker icon. That's like a transparent brush, so I can just sort of color through this. What I want you to do right now. Let's see. Top one on bottom. So this way. Oh. Oh. Should be two like sort of big. I'm not going for like perfect accuracy here, but I want the general, the broad strokes, if you will. General broad strokes to be drawing. Further. Are connected. Weird little like circles there. Jesus Christ. Stop making characters with fucking wacky patterns on them, please. Begging you. This. That's most everything, right? Got like a big one going down. Let me brush a little. Middle here. Sides. Should be. Also has like a key. Christ, man. Patterns, man. Alright, I'm gonna say that's good enough. Let me just, I think that color green's a little too strong right there. Duration. Opacity. Don't need to be that. There we go. That's much, much better. Much better, I think. Look at that green. Not as harsh on your eyes. In fact, I want to filter, blur, Gaussian blur this a little bit. Yeah. Or a little bit of a pattern. Go ahead and darker green. Highlight it and color. My airbrush just okay. We basically have colored the character. at this point. But now we're gonna add some finishing touches. I know this has gone really long. I'm sorry, I'm a slow drawer. We're gonna go ahead and I like to color a lot of the inside lines. There's not that many here, but I'm gonna go ahead and I want these little like eyelash things above her eyes white. I think. Oh no, those are just on the whisker layer. Oops. This is why I say condense your layers down as much as you can, because like, oh my god. Even with like what 10 layers I have here, I'm getting turned around. Imagine you have like 50, man. It's okay. I'm gonna go ahead. Usually just cut the color of my lines. Like I just color pick the base color or like the shading color, especially since the shading color is touching a lot of these lines. I want it to stand out a little bit. Get a little darker. Still hit by this a lot, but see the inside of the ears makes that a little not that color don't work there. So I'm gonna side of the ears. That. Color back real quick. This right head. Good. And I think I want to color. Let's see if I do. Might destroy the illusion. Doesn't really look too much. Good. Color on this fold right here. What's going on? Okay, I think we're ready for the final step. This is what I like to do at the end of my drawings. I'm gonna go ahead and all the colors are on one layer. So at the top of all these layers, I'm gonna add a new layer and do an add glow layer. That's a clipping layer. It's my soft airbrush, make it pretty big. And I'm gonna pick a color, usually like the darkness of the like the shading of the skin color. So I'll take. I'll just sort of like a little, not too much, just a little brushing, like where the light source is coming from. Bit crazy. It might not look like much right here. You might be like, oh, it looks the fucking same. Watch when I turn this layer off. It's night and day difference. It really adds a lot for something so basic. Does a lot of the heavy lifting for you. You can even do this too. Add another layer. Make this a linear burn layer. Put it under the add glow layer, and you want to take one of the lighter colors. I'm gonna take like light brown, and do the same thing on like the back. Especially, I'm gonna make this a little smaller. There we go. That adds a lot too. Without these, boom, that looks so good. Anything else we want to add here? I think we're okay. I might add a little lightness to clouds. Very soft. I'm gonna get like a shadow airbrush here. Come in here and go. Light. Not really super. There. Yep. I mean, I think that's pretty good. I think I'm gonna call it right there. Oh, what? Hold on. Side of the eyes white again. Needs to be. What is happening there? Is that like the line? Yeah, there's like a straight line in the center of her eyeball there. Get out of here. There we go. All right, and yeah, that's about it. That's my coloring process right there. This is about done. I told you, a little lengthy, but I think it's good. Now we have this in a folder. Just close up this folder. Around. That was a little laggy, but whatever. Around a bit. Something else I like to do while we're here. I like to sort of blur my lines a lot of the time. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on the line layer here, and we're gonna duplicate it. Layer 1 copy. I'm gonna put it under the original line layer. I'm not title this line blur. All caps, yeah, sure, man. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Notice it takes effect right away there. I don't like to do it the default. I like to bring it down a bit, around like 4.5. Always like sort of is good for me. In this one, I'm thinking 4. 4.5 is good. Yeah, I'll take 4.5. That looks good. And you can see the difference when I turn this on and off. This looks, yeah, a lot sharper and cleaner. But sometimes, sharper and cleaner doesn't look always the best. A little blur never hurt nobody, man. Blur never hurt nobody. Really adds a little something, something to my opinion. But yeah, that's about it. That's what I got. Here's Nakote and all her beauty. Thank you so much for watching or chilling out with me, whatever you're doing in the background while listening. That's my process. That's pretty much how I color literally everything. So that's what I do. But thanks for hanging out with me. All right. If you want me to make more videos like this, let me know. I can make more edited down videos. It just takes a lot more time. This is a lot easier for me to just do something completely uncut. But I hope you liked it. If you want more, let me know. I could maybe do a line work video or coloring examples or whatever you want. No. All right. Peace out.